So I thought it might be kind of fun to try something a little bit different. This time, it's going to be just me on the podcast, and there's no camera. I figured I'd just chat with the mic and share some of my thoughts and feelings on the wellness industry, and I guess more specifically focusing just on the massage therapy industry as it stands. And it's interesting because I never actually wanted to be a massage therapist. In fact, I remember at one point in time, I went into Dr. Du's office, and Dr. Du is the dean, or I guess the owner of the acupuncture school that I went to. And I went into his office one day, and I sat down, and I told him that I didn't want to do any more massages in the clinic. And he said, well, you have to. It's part of the program. Like, part of the program is to get your 1,100-hour massage therapy education. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that part because I don't want to massage. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to get those hours. I don't ever intend on massaging. So can we just not do that? And he's like, no, it's part of it. It's part of the program. So I had to do this, right? But it's interesting how upset I was about it. Like, I mean, I wasn't like storming off, arms crossed, kind of upset or anything like that. But I remember being like, this is bullshit. Like, I don't want to do this, and it's my money, and I'm paying for my education. I should be able to choose what I want to do, right? But nevertheless, I did it. I went through the whole process. And then once I graduated, I really wanted to focus my practice on internal medicine, particularly focusing on digestive issues and, interestingly enough, psychological stuff, largely dealing with stress at the time. But I was also super into hypnotherapy back then. So when I graduated, I had full intentions on diving deep into the practice of Chinese medicine. Like, I really wanted to do that. But as life would have it, it turns out life is indeed expensive, and I wasn't very interested in maintaining a part-time job that I didn't really enjoy. And I didn't want to go back to the trades because I knew if I went to the trades, then I would just stay a tradesman. Like, if I was making good money, I'd probably end up getting stuck in that life. So I decided to do something else, and that was just try and get a job in the industry anywhere. And then Hannah, who some listeners might know from Macamee, where I ended up teaching at this college. Well, she got me a job there as a tutor. I was supposed to tutor anatomy and physiology, and I did tutor anatomy and physiology to maybe half a dozen people, so like 6 or so people. But somehow, before I knew it, I was teaching this class. And I mean, it really was relatively quickly between the time when I started and I was teaching this class. And within the first year, I was participating in writing the massage therapy curriculum. And honestly, before I knew it, just like that, I was so deep into the massage world that I felt like, like I'm in it. And I actually started to really enjoy it, like being so immersed in the environment and just kind of having to be so immersed in it. I genuinely enjoyed this art of learning how to palpate and use this sense of touch to help improve clients. And I saw how effective it was at dealing with musculoskeletal conditions, which was super important. But what's also interesting is it was in receiving massage where I'm like, oh, this feels so good. Like a really well done massage. It feels so amazing to receive. So I'm like, there has to be something here. Like, why does this feel so good, right? So I fell in love with the sensation of receiving massage, and I started to enjoy the practice of giving massage, and I really liked its efficacy. But then I learned it. So I ended up teaching at this college, and for various reasons that I don't want to get into at this point in time, I ended up leaving that college once, and then I ended up coming back. So I actually taught at the same college twice, but that's another story for another time, what happened there. Once I understood massage, I didn't want to be a massage therapist. That still wasn't in the game plan. It was very helpful in me actually developing my acupuncture practice, knowing that this is an essential part of the medicine that I want to practice, this very touch-based somatic practice for a variety of different reasons and different methods of applying it, But there I was in the massage industry. So I stayed in it and I kept teaching it, and little by little I started shifting my practice more and more back into what I wanted to be doing. Now it's really interesting to know is this whole process took about 10 years or so. It was about 10 years of maintaining my acupuncture practice as well as really involved in the massage therapy world. And now, I've, of course, moved into continuing education, where most of my time is spent creating these continuing education courses, again, for massage therapists. And yet, I still don't actually consider myself a massage therapist. Like, in my mind, I'm still primarily an acupuncturist who really values and does massage therapy. So I've got this interesting outsider experience on the industry. Like, I don't really consider myself in it. I don't maintain a massage therapy license because I do acupuncture virtually every single session. But being so in it, I find it so fascinating about the politics that happens and the attitudes. And I mean, we're no different in the TCM world. I'm not claiming some sort of superiority of morality or anything like that. But in the massage world, it's just its own ecosystem. Its own ecosystem, and there's so many hard and fast opinions that are presented like fact, and I find it so fascinating. Nevertheless, my experience has been that when people book to come see a massage therapist, I think there are a lot more people like myself. And what I love to experience when I receive massage, what I really love to experience when I seek a massage therapist, is I love to experience this whole body feel good. Like like every moment of it, this feels so good. It's like a purely hedonic experience. Like I crave that. But what's so fascinating, it's a little bit different than the other sort of hedonistic things we participate in, like gluttony, for example, or eating too much, or in imbibing in any type of vice. It's not like that type of hedonic pleasure, or even social media for that matter. It's like this, like pure form of this just feels good, right? And it's really hard to take it too far. Like you could eat too far pretty easily, but if you've ever, gotten a long massage, there comes this point, where your body's like, I'm good. I've had enough. I don't want anymore. I don't need anymore. So it's like this self-limiting hedonic thing. Anyways, I digress. What I mean to say is, my personal reason for seeking massage is not to have something fixed. While massage therapy is an essential part of that process, of the fixing process, no question. Again, I use it all the time when I'm dealing with things that need to be fixed, be it a frozen shoulder, a damaged ankle, or digestive problems like abdominal massage, or even stress-based things like just this sense of touch. So it is a phenomenal tool for fixing specific issues. But I think it's actually like the tool for facilitating relaxation. Like I personally feel that about what I love about massage therapy. And what's fascinating is I know it's actually not just me. A while ago, I read this sort of meta-study done by the American Psychology Association, in which they did a whole bunch of research to figure out that the majority of people who seek a massage therapist do so for, the top three reasons. One is going to be relaxation. Number two is going to be stress reduction. And then number three is going to be for musculoskeletal conditions or injuries. So what's so fascinating is the majority of people are actually seeking massage therapy to relax, not to have something fixed. Now, here's the interesting thing. I've also polled every single student who has purchased a course from me online. Now, not everybody has filled it out by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I think at this point in time, I have something like 8% or something like that. But nevertheless, I'm getting a little over 1,000 pieces of data, different bits of feedback. And one of the questions I ask is, what is the number one most important thing you want to learn? Or like, what do you want to learn? What's the thing? And I ask this question in two ways. One, I give a long list of different modalities from like, do you want to learn myofascial cupping? Do you want to learn craniosacral techniques? Do you want to lymphatic? Do you want to learn about stress? Do you want to learn about business? Do you want to learn about therapeutic techniques? And I give all of these different options. That's one way. And another way is I ask this very specific question where I ask people to say, sort of describe in their own words, like the perfect continuing education course. What's it like? And both of these answers are very similar, which is good. That means people have a consistent opinion on a subject. But what's so fascinating about it is what the vast majority of people want in a course is, as far as, this is massage therapists wanting to learn, they want to learn therapeutic techniques. They want to learn specific techniques for specific issues in specific regions of the body. That's the thing. They want to learn systems in order to treat clients' dysfunctions. And it doesn't matter which one of those two approaches to asking that question you look at, that's the majority of people. Now, it's not the vast majority in this case. I think it's something like, at this point in time, 57% of people. But nevertheless, it's like 50% of people want to do that versus every other option, right? So there's this interesting disconnect. It's like the research shows that the reason people are coming to see a massage is for stress reduction, for relaxation, and indeed for fixing an issue. What people want to learn is how to fix the issue. And I'm very curious about that disconnect between people wanting to learn how to do the thing that's lower on the list of what people seek a massage for. And sometimes I wonder, is it because, people know how to do the relaxation thing, and it's just like that's relatively easy to do the relaxation thing, and it just takes more time and experience and practice and education in order to learn how to do the therapeutic thing. That certainly might be the case. It might be the case that it's funner for some people. There are individuals who want to do that, right? But I also think there's something to do with sort of the stigma of being like a relaxation massage therapist, a spa worker, a body rubber versus the massage therapist, the one who can fix it. There's like the terminology has sort of changed how we perceive what that occupation or vocation is. It's like now it's become this therapeutic, more clinical thing. It's kind of got lumped in there. And again, I know I'm kind of going back and forth. I just want to stress the fact that I get it. It is worth and valuable, rather, in that world. But I think so many of us have forgotten what I believe to be the truest value of massage therapy. And that's the ability to help co-regulate somebody's nervous system, to create this external sensation of relaxation. We create input from the body, which then affects the brain. We know that, the body-mind connection thing is not only, I'm reluctant to say it's a myth, but it is a myth because there's no such thing as a body-mind connection. Like that would indicate these are two separate things. We've got a mind and a body and they're connected, like through a string or a highway or a cable or something like that. Like I don't like that mental imagery. So I tend to disregard this idea of body-mind or body-mind-soul connection. It's one thing. There's no connection. It's just the same thing. Again, I digress. What I'm getting at here is what massage therapy does is, in the same way that when we are psychologically stressed, when we perceive stress, that tends to, well, in fact, it does almost universally manifest within physiological changes, tightening of the upper traps, tightening of the glutes. In some cases, depending on the severity of stress, it's going to be changes in digestion, upset stomach, things like that, weakness, lethargy. So the body, of course, is the physical manifestation of the psychological stress. It kind of moves from mind and brain down into body. But the opposite is true also. It's a two-way street. So when we affect the body, that message goes up into the brain. Like you stub your toe. That's a signal going from the body into the brain saying there's something happening in the external environment. It's painful, alert, move away, do something, stimulating the nervous system to take action. We see something, right? We see something that scares us. This has the same thing. It's like this external thing, yes, the eyes are technically part of the central nervous system, but it's like this external cue comes in from the world around us, the physical world, which is real and very important, comes into our brain. And then from there, we kind of like get the stress, and then we move our body. And the interesting thing is, as we move our body away from that stress, we begin to de-stress. We begin to, like the stress hormones and chemicals and nervous system activations tend to go away when we move with this fight, flight, flee sort of thing. When we actually enact on the thing the stress mechanism is telling us to do. When we play that out, it tends to naturally decrease the physical manifestations of stress. But the point I want to get at is we can reverse that cycle. If we then mechanically and physically, through this sense of touch, through understanding that pressure on the muscles facilitates muscular, therefore nervous system relaxation, and the muscles will only be relaxed when an individual is in a relaxed state, right? Like we can't force a muscle to be relaxed on a stressed out individual. It's just two conflicting systems. But if we can find some way to override the system or create a stronger intensity of signal going from the body into the brain, then we can indeed facilitate relaxation. So it's like all of this sciencey stuff is again to say like it's so unbelievably effective how touch seems to be the most effective way to facilitate that transition by using the body as a tool to calm the mind. There are other things, no question, right? Like different varieties of meditation certainly do that. Yoga, absolutely. Exercise, all of these things certainly do that. But few of them feel as damn good as a massage. So there's just something different about it. So all of this is to say, this long ramble, largely what I wanted to communicate is when I view the massage therapy world, I think and I see its tremendous value in the ability to facilitate therapeutic change in injury. I've seen it on my ankle, I've kind of seen it on my shoulder to a certain extent, and I've seen it in other cases. That is very true. But also, simultaneously, equally, in fact, slightly more true, relaxation really, really matters. Like, it's so unbelievably important. And over the years, receiving various massages and talking to different people in different contexts and, watching students go through school and see what happens over, again, nearly 10 years of doing this, I see that, well, quite frankly, relaxation gets significantly neglected in the world of massage therapists. There's almost no continuing education courses that are profound relaxation techniques. They all have a therapeutic swing of some sort. Certainly things like craniosacral therapy are profoundly relaxing and also therapeutic in their own right, but there's nothing that it's like, hey, this is just about relaxation. Like, that's it. That's all this is about, is relaxation. There's so few courses out there, and it's something that takes skill. Like, it really takes skill to facilitate relaxation, to create an environment that is so welcoming and calming and nurturing and well thought out that it facilitates relaxation, to have somebody lie on the table and it be so comfortable and so thoughtful and so conscientious and so informed for their particular variety of nervous system. Like these things are so essential, and when they are considered, even if one of them is considered, the entire experience as the visitor, as the receiver of this therapy, it's just like, it matters. To get this hour of, I just get to relax. Like, that's all I have to do. And to have that facilitated by somebody else who has their nervous system regulated, who has their shit together for that hour at the very least. Let's not pretend we have our shit together in real life for the most part. But in that room, it's like the sanctuary in which the practitioner can facilitate that by leaving their stuff at the door. So keep that in mind, right? Like, if you are a massage therapist, or if you're an acupuncturist, or if you're a yoga teacher, or in fact any type of practitioner, I really think this advice is important, and this thought, I should say, it's not advice, it's more of a thought, or at this point it's getting into a 20-minute ramble. But what I mean to say is never forget how important relaxation is. And consider that in your interaction. Consider what you can do to help your clients or your patients or your students' nervous system regulate, to move into a place of safety and security. This could open up a whole nother conversation of what trauma-informed means, because that's a big conversation that has a lot to do with what I'm talking about, actually, but it's not it. It's little things. It's understanding how to use your voice. It's understanding how to prepare the lighting and the temperature and the music, and how to work with each sense to a certain extent, to just be mindful, right? There's so much we can do. And then, of course, there is the actual practice of what we do, the thing we do with our client on the table or on the mat or wherever they are. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Just help people relax, and remember that to do that, you have to do it yourself. That's like step number one, is you gotta relax a little bit. What I found after now this bit of rambling is, it turns out that this message is as much for me as for whoever might be listening this message of just remember, relax, right? Like that's important for me to remember as well. It's certainly a lesson I'm working on at this point in my life. Anyways, I think that's a great place to wrap up this particular experiment. Let me know if it's something that you want to hear more of. If it's something that was interesting. You can, just send me a message on the website or the social medias, right? Just AIM Online Education. Or you can find me personally, right? Just Jess Reynolds on social media. And yeah, just drop me a line. Let me know. Is this something you want to hear more of? I'd be super interested. All right. Well, good night, good day, good whatever it is you're at.